What's up, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up? It's your boy, the Koopa, and today you're blessed. You're blessed because you made it back to another mysterious day, another mysterious way. And we are in a wonderful 2025, Year of the Truth. I welcome you to this wonderful, rare YouTube Shorts pool. You know what I'm saying? You've unlocked a mythic. And today, this is the third episode of The Mysterious Tower that we're going through. One of the great challenges of life and this game, as we call it. But I am using Dragon Quest X as an analogy for life. So over here on the Mysterious Tower Theory, we discuss how the analogies connect, the blah 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 blahs. I was talking about some weird shit yesterday, so hopefully it'll be more based this time. We're not yesterday, but last episode. It definitely wasn't yesterday what I did last episode, but I realized I needed to cool it out on this because I needed to gain more knowledge, more data, so that I can put it out into the world and so that I can fail once again. But yeah, this is gonna be kind of a funny episode because we're really not doing much, just failing a lot and grinding up so we can beat this 10th tower boss. We are literally only going to beat the 10th tower boss, but while we do that, I know you saw the title of the episode, and I know this is probably why you clicked on this rare YouTube pool in the first place, and I assure you we have fun things to talk about. So essentially what we're getting into here is the reality of all of the monster types that we have in this world of Dragon Quest, and relating that to all of the weird and disturbing monsters that you will fight in your life. Because a friendship is kind of a lie, and every person has a type of way, a main class or a main skill, a main toxic trait that they use to attack people with, whether that be for good or bad reasons, for discipline, control, whatever. They all have a way. And I think, personally, it relates to all of the different monster types in Dragon Quest. And I'll get into how that works. But it's a lot of different combinations of analogies and tons of reaches and stretches. I think it's a funny idea. Hopefully you do too. Should be doing here for the next couple of minutes here. You give me 30 and I'll give you birdie. Okay? I love you guys. I appreciate you for all the support. We are growing quite quickly. So if you want to support, just watch the content. Don't even tell anybody about it. Please don't tell anybody about it. I'm trying not to get clapped by Nintendo. Okay? I'm trying not to get my cheeks clapped by UMG. Chill out. Just watch the content. Enjoy it. Just be here. Can you just be here with me? Cool. So anyways. Essentially, everybody has a way that they use to excel. And if you're a hero class, of course, you're just going to, grind in yourself, do your own thing, blah, blah, blah. Try to be as good as possible. So, of course, we're not talking about the chosens of the world. We're just talking about those who try to get a leg up on any other way that they can because they feel like they're inadequate. And so, of course, we're just going to go down the line of all the Dragon Quest monster types and relate them to these different types of animalistic natured people, things, objects, whatever it is that tries to win. Because that's what we're all trying to do in life. We're trying to win. I don't know anybody here who's alive, living, trying to fail. Except for me. I would love it. And I do love it every time I do fail. But I like it when I win too. But nowadays I've taken that skill of just liking the fact of learning. And I've taken that into just, it's okay. Whether I win, whether I lose, I'm just gonna feel nothing. I'm just gonna feel nothing. I don't care about the results. We're just doing it. We're just doing it. We're just here. So let me do it here. Let me do it for you. So starting off on the bat, of course, we have the Slime class. The Slime class is essentially the looks maxers, the guys who just want to excel and gain as much money, grace, majesty, and of course, the greatest currency of nowadays time, attention. I suppose they are just the attention thieves nowadays. But I think slimes, like in this game, they're like the cutest monsters, like the fan favorites. Slimes, who you would equate this to in real life, you'd say probably like your natural forms of influencers that just do it for the money, the dosh, the cash. The people who do the call services, or the guys who do really, really well at retail, but, step on other people's toes behind the scenes or whatever. And, of course, just like every monster, you can get them as companions. There are nice versions of the slimes, guys. I'm not saying, just to berate everybody who goes for attention, who is really cute. That's not how this shit works, okay? There are goods and bads to everything. So if you don't like my takes, if you don't like the balanced takes and looking at the good and bad of both sides, you might want to go somewhere else. I'm very annoying like that. Of course, I have bold opinions, but I will never force them upon you. Also, fuck the slimes. Anyways, Beast class is next, and I would say Beast is the guys who do less of the thinky and more of the talky. This could also go over to pets and animals in general. I feel like, we're not going to discount them just because they can't communicate with us. Beast class, as an enemy, I feel like it's just anything that is just working by its own nature and nothing else. So these are the guys who really can't tell signs from girls. They're just like, I am horny, my dick activates, so I go talk to women at club. Those guys, girls wise, it's the ones who naturally move towards guys with a lot of money or who look very strong because they have that instinct to be protected, nurtured, all that shit. The girls who see that guy who's like, I can fix him. There are beast type women that do good things too, and beast type men who do good things too. You can think about the guys who are just like, I don't know why, but I just feel like I have to work out every day. That's a beast type thing that you can do. And that's the thing with a lot of these classes, guys. A lot of people don't just, main one monster type. A lot of people have a combination of monster types just because that's the way the world is. It's not as simple as Dragon Quest, sadly. Sadly, we can't just lock into something. And I hate how social media has told us that we can just, morph into whatever bullshit, idea, stationary type we want to. And be like, yes, you are this ideology now. Now you identify as liberal type. Who's that Pokemon? It's Zapdos! It's Zapkaya! Okay, I'm sorry. Anyways, moving on. Dragon. The dragon types are a little bit hard to pin down. You know what I'm saying? Because when I see a dragon type, I just think of someone who defies odds, but just because they want to defy odds. They're kind of like the stubborn ones. So this is some animals. But this kind of nature, the dragon nature, is just sort of like an indignance, just like I'm going to prove the world wrong just because the world is wrong. And I'm not going to argue with you that the world is not wrong. But, of course, it can definitely go to bad places, but it can definitely go to good places too. And as a matter of fact, most often it does end up in good places, at least for the circumstances of the people around them and their elevation. But oftentimes it can lead to self-destruction. If you're not in the perfect environment, if you don't have the right people around you, it's very easy for the dragon to get ganged up on. Because they're an odd bunch. You don't meet a lot of dragons out here, especially nowadays, 2025 years. Dragon type is very rare, which is why it's hard for me to pin it down. It's scary because when I say it like this, it's like, hey, this Koopa might be a dragon type. Oh my god. But anyways, moving on to the insects. The insects are the parasites. You find a lot of them online. You find a lot of them draining energy from people in retail stores, talking their ears off. But I feel like insects are just people who take without giving a lot. And that's just their nature. They're the guys who want a good deal. They're the guys who want a lot for a little. And you'd be surprised how many people react or interact with this mindset. It's not necessarily a bad mindset, but the problem with the insect is when it becomes their entire personality, to constantly get a good roll. And sometimes you just gotta bite the bullets for your own personal growth. If you keep living your life expecting your mom to do your laundry, then the one random time when she doesn't, you're not gonna know what to do with yourself, and that's just bad. That's just bad. Also, that was a bullshit hit. That was a long fight too. I believe after this I get pissed off and start grinding eventually. I'd say if you really want to do this boss, a good level to do it at is like 13 or 12 when you have mid-heal. But I wanted to do hard things. So we do die to this for about 30 minutes. Like I said, this is the only boss we're fighting this time. But no worries, guys. I have fun things to talk about. We're talking shit about the human race. Isn't that fun? All right, I gotta get through this fast. We have we're not even halfway through the monster types. We're almost halfway through the video. So, Insects, they drain your energy, but that's their entire personality. And once again, there are good versions of insects. I mean, come on, man, who doesn't like coupon shopping? Like, if you're an insect, you could just use all of your insect power to scroll through coupons on Groupon every day. You know, like that could be your insect power. But whatever. Moving on to birds. The free birds. Free bird. Free falling now. Okay. Goodness gracious, that was a huge music break. I'm sorry. Bird types are the free types of the world. The types who don't give a care to your energy or your power or your whatever. They're just going to do them. They're just going to do them. And you most often see this type emerge when a girl, it emerges in her when a girl is dating a guy who she doesn't find attractive or attractive enough. She finds she is hotter than. She becomes the bird type because, you know, she just doesn't care and she's protected. You know, that's the real thing about birds. You have to realize that they can fly. And so in any situation, they can just leave and do whatever and go wherever and be wherever and see all. And that's how you feel when you are a girl with an unattractive guy who still is willing to date you and take care of you and take you out on dates and protect you. Because you feel protected, but at the same time, I'm hot and he's not, so I can get anything else I want because that's, you know, it's 2025. That's the way the woman now. And so bird type can also be good. It can also be you know, just like a whatever thing. It's something that people usually don't integrate too deeply into the personality, but I feel like a lot of people do fly by this, especially nowadays, in the way that they don't really care what other people do. They're just kind of like, you know, whatever. It's life, you know, it's 2025. We're still complaining about gay people getting married or whatever. So, you know, that's a bird type instinct, which I don't think is a bad thing. I think it's very good to not worry about other people's bullshit. But this gets toxic when we start equating the bird type to the people we love. And we're like, I don't care about your problems. The problem with me is that I can't turn this off. You know what I'm saying? It's like I try to become the bird type or try to not become the bird type. It's very difficult. So, you know, I just have to cut off communication sometimes and just only care about what I really can care about, if you understand what I mean. You know, sometimes it's just the less I know, the better. Shout outs to Tame Impala and all that. But wow, we really are doing this one more time. Holy shit, I am stubborn as fuck. Okay, anyways, moving on to plant types. Plant types, the chill types. You gotta love the plant types of the world. I really do. I think this is because I'm a stoner or whatever, but I feel like this is druggies. This is the people who are just, you know, are carefree. They like the substances. They like to alter themselves. But I feel like this can go, of course, you know how it's bad. Duh, drugs are bad, okay? But I feel like this can go positively if you use this for growth, you know, as plants do. Plants do nothing but just sit there and grow. And so that's what you can use drugs for if you want to. I mean, you're not going to go anywhere that's not in your mind, right? And that can be a problem if you sit there for too long. But you have to remember everything starts in the mental. So if you want to go through, you know, a huge spiritual change in your life, a lot of people like to do ayahuasca. A lot of people like to do the retreats. But if you want a cheaper vacation, just should buy some weed. Buy some weed, smoke out for like a week, start it all over. That's just me. It's my advice. Plant types are cool though. I vibe with plant types. Probably my favorite monster type. I also like to laugh when I go outside and I see somebody mowing the lawn. I'm like, oh shit, I gotta dodge the plant type monster. I'm funny like that. But yeah, that's my idea of plant types and humans. Anyways, moving on to materials. You probably know where I'm going by this. Material types, they only look to gain more assets. It can get toxic. It can get toxic in this capitalistic world, and you feel like everybody's a material type to some extent, because everybody indeed does have a price. If you don't admit that to yourself, oh, it's gonna be a rough existence. I'll tell you that. It's gonna be a rough existence. But yeah, everybody has a price. Surely in this world, because they're just draining us dry. They're tactically getting rid of financial safety, and so it's a little scary to interact and move through the world, just acting like what you have is enough, because it is never enough. But the material types I'm talking about, you know, who are the monsters that we must fight and we must defeat, are the ones who pursue it to no end, for no goal, not to survive, but just to have, just to take from others, just for security that, you know, they may never see or witness. It's a little annoying to view, But it is what happens a lot. People who just accumulate wealth. Sometimes just I feel like it's just to take it from others. Just to absorb. Because what other feeling do they have in life? They are money. You are what you eat. You are what you do. Sometimes you are what you make. I don't mind that reality though, because I make art, I make music, and this is gonna sound weird. This is gonna sound weird. Don't cancel me. Don't cancel me, man. But I make love. I make love, and if I am love, not mad at that. As a matter of fact, I do agree with that. I do think that is a thing. Moving on to, because we're running out of time here. Machine types, machine types, machine types. So machine types are, a very modern era. Let's say, back in the 1990s, they basically just got, evolved and turned into true form. But I'd say it's really what we modernly call AI. But it's something that doesn't interact on regular human instincts, and instead reacts on a formula. It's something that gathers data, accumulates it all together, and says this is the perfect response. Back in the day, if we were doing this, let's say like 2017 era or so, I'd say this is like a Mewtwo King kind of person who just like, I know the perfect response for this, I know what to say or what to do, blah blah blah. But now, we can literally just go to AI. I can not make fun of, one of the cool Smash Bros. Players I like to watch. But yeah, that's generally my idea. It's just someone who calculates everything, and I'm fully allowed to make fun of these people too, by the way, including Mewtwo King, because I feel like I was one of these people. I was, what I used to like to call a good person, and there's really no good people. You just kind of sacrifice all your morals to make everybody else happy. And that's not going to make everybody else happy. It's just going to make the person in front of you happy, which, in turn will probably make somebody else a little bit mad who you're not truly seeing at the time. But, adhering and bowing to things and not really going against the grain on anything does not make you inherently a good person. It just makes you comfortable. And that's always not a good skill to have. That's what the machines do. They make everybody comfortable. They are in service of things. And, ChatGPT had to tone that shit down because it was glaring. So, it's okay. People love ChatGPT, but just don't glaze too much, right? If you're a machine type, just don't glaze too much. Of course, it can go either way. I'd say machine type is probably one of those things that's really not bad of all the monster types. It's one of those things that you really like, I don't know. This is bad, right? You're just in service of people. But the thing is, blindly doing any of these toxic traits, toxic monster traits will destroy you. It will. So you have to be conscious of it. That's the main thing. Moving on to the undead types. Oh, look, there's an undead type right there. I just killed him. Sorry, undigent servant. I was making an example of you. Undead types are the ones in life who walk around with no soul. You've seen them, I've seen them. There are people who just really do live the NPC life. A lot of people like to act like that's everybody who they walk past. I'm like, chill guys, come on. There's some real people out there. Let's be real. Let's be so for real with me. But that's the thing. A lot of people don't see that. Don't see that, don't witness that. And oh my goodness, I think this is so annoying. I don't think I'm using my actual mic right now. I think I'm using the computer laptop mic. So I'm going to switch out to the real mic now. And I apologize if the sound quality goes a little bit different. This is going to be awkward. Okay, we're back. That's funny. That's super funny. So I apologize about that horrible audio quality. You survived though. You're still here. You're still kicking. You're still sexy. Yeah, you like that? You like me calling you sexy? Okay, so we'll continue on. We'll continue on because you like that, and we're still here and we're vibing. Don't worry, I promise I'll be less of an idiot next time. But no promises. Anyways, undead. Yeah, people walking around with no souls. No souls. It's so funny because I didn't really realize this is a huge issue or a problem with people until about when I moved off and went to LA, and I had this random conversation with this girl in the car in like a parking garage, and she was like, "Some people walk around with no souls," and this bitch was so dramatic with it. I'm like, okay, chill out, like, and then a couple years later, I thought back to that, and I was like, what the hell? She was kind of right. There's a lot of motherfuckers out here like this. And if you don't believe me, go out and drive in Florida. There's so many people that I feel like just don't care for their lives or anyone else on the road. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like, they want to die. Like, do you want to die? What's wrong with you? Why are you driving like this? But yeah, it's a real thing that a lot of people just don't feel like they own their lives.
They feel like they're already dead. They feel like they're a skeleton walking inside of a body. And yeah, for those people, it's not really a bad thing because, when you feel like, you don't really own anything, you can just give it all up to God and let him move through you. But yeah, this can get really, really bad if you just let it hang. And the problem with nowadays life is that it's very easy to let something like that hang because there are so many distractions, ergo this channel, ergo YouTube in general, ergo social media in general, which is what we all use to sort of, I don't know, make the time go by, make the time pass, but the distractions can really, really take you away from the fact that you are living an undead life. So yeah, little scary there. Apologize to frighten you. It's okay if you identify as this. Like I said, just give it all up to God. You can still be undead and say, "Ah, fuck this life," but let God move through you. And so He's living your body. You don't have to do it. You don't have to do anything. I don't think being dead inside is inherently a negative trait. Just like any of these, not inherently negative. So anyways, moving on. Demons! So this is one of the most, I really can't bring you back up from exoneration from this. I'm gonna have to talk a little bit shit about the demons. I'm gonna have to talk a little bit of shit about the demons. So demons are the people with the art of persuasion, people with the art of deception, because that is where the word demon comes from, if you didn't know, is demonception. And people who are natural tricksters. You see this in a lot of car salesmen. You see this in a lot of influencers, social media salesmen, a lot of content creators, a lot of AI slot generators, and a shitload of ads. It's crazy how this sort of demon deception style is so prevalent in ads, because it's not illegal for some reason to just make an AI picture of some product or whatever that you are physically selling. And this is not a real version of the thing. It's just an AI picture, and then you sell it for money, and then you send it to the person, and it's like, well, that is not in anything like what it looked like, but okay. Okay, Mr. Seller, that's fine. That is okay. But yeah, I'd say in general, the demons, you've all seen them, we've all been there, and the problem with demons is that you never really know if you're dealing with one until it's too late. Because they all look so good. They all seem so good. They all so sexy. They all so good. They all so persuasive. You know what I'm saying? It's with the voice. It's with the feeling, really. They're masters of acting. And so that's what I went into early on in life. I knew that I was very, very good at this skill to just, sort of using the undead and the slime together to, make a sort of demon. But I always wanted to battle them. I always wanted to say, no, people can say Hollywood is some horrible cesspool place, but that's false. We can make it something different, and that's just gonna be me making it something different. So I went over to LA and I tried to make it something different, and I'm back over here in Florida because I still believe I'm gonna be the greatest entertainer of all time, but I just had to see how it really was. I had to see a baseline of what we're working with. And guys, we're in dire straits. Here in 2025, we're in dire straits. It's even worse than it was when I left. And it's only gonna get worse before it gets better. So we have to hang on, do whatever we can just to move forward. But once again, it's not bad to be undead. Just let God move through you and do something. I don't care what it is. That's what really kills me about life. It's just, it doesn't matter what you do as long as it's something. As long as you're physically putting things out, putting brass tack to paper, it'll produce something that'll bring you back profit. But you gotta put the slop out. You gotta put the slopper out and the Gouda out. The slopper and the Gouda get the cheese for your Buddha. Your Buddha body. Your Buddha body in your hobby. Your body in your body. Okay, I don't know what the fuck I'm saying, so we're moving on to the next one. We have elementals. Elementals and memento. Write it down into mementos. Elemental monsters are kind of hard to pin down in real life. I'd say the closest thing to relate them to in real life are the freaks of nature, the people that you just don't understand how they fucking work. I'd say physically speaking, these are people who are like really short or really fat and somehow still alive, or really disgusting and somehow everyone loves them and wants to watch them, like Asmon Gold. Shout out to Asmon, I really love the guy. But whatever it is, it's like, why? Like, why does this exist? I don't understand it. And then something, that you really can't see that's a little more ethereal to you are the people who don't get mad when you insult them. I generally have always really been one of these people, and I never knew why. And it's mostly because when people insult you, I knew from a very early time that really does nothing to you unless you let it. But it gives everything about them out. It shows entirely their weakness. And this is exactly how you defeat all of these monsters. The thing is, when people insult you, they reveal their attack type, and when they reveal their attack type, you can tell what they're projecting and also what they are weak to. So, for example, if somebody attacks you because of the funny shirt that you wear, it's like, oh, look at the cool shirt, guy likes Nintendo. I'm like, okay, so this guy's probably embarrassed about whatever fandom he likes, whether it be Nintendo actually, or whatever the fuck else it is, or embarrassed about some other interest that he has, something like that. Or if they make fun of your facial hair or something like that, they may be a little bit embarrassed about their appearance. Those are just small examples of that. We'll go into this a little bit deeper later in probably another episode because I have to get through these damn monsters here. We have 3 more, so not too much. But yeah, elementals, the freaks of nature that you really don't understand, that do things that just don't really make sense. And of course, this could definitely be a bad thing, but it's mostly a good thing to be an elemental, I'd say, because you can kind of use this in any way you want. A lot of elemental types in the world often just come off as misunderstood, and because they're misunderstood for so long, they just take the evil path. They just take an evil route, and then suddenly I'm an evil elemental. But you don't really have to be. Most oftentimes you're often put on the intellectual route, which leads you to the loner route. As an elemental, which can often, you go loner until you go evil, basically. But it's always your choice on which side to go to whether to attack or to, inherently heal and help yourself and others. It's always up to you. It's just, I feel like elementals don't really have too many natural weapons, okay? If it's a natural weapon for an elemental, it's pointed towards themselves. Usually, because they interact with very stark peaks and valleys, I feel. It's just I feel like all in all, elements is just someone who mains in a specific stat, just because, just I'm gonna main in this stat and that's it. They're just the weirdos, the sigmas, if you will. Moving on to our third to last one, we have the humanoids. Don't we love humanoids? Humanoids. So humanoids are the most normal guys. The normies, if you will, but I say humans are just people who balance everything, but have this one inherent flaw. And the main thing about humanoids is that they can't see the main flaw that they have. And that's sort of like the one human error that makes you this class. But they're quite similar to elementals, because like they try to be as good as them in the one thing that they do, being balanced in everything. But without the awareness, is where the evil comes in, and they become midwits, and they become these horrible things that, he's like, I'm not a balanced class, I'm the greatest thing that ever lived, and it's a human flaw, of course. I feel like that is one of the humanoid traits. But you can do this as long as you have awareness. Being a humanoid is not bad. You just have to be like, yeah, I'm average, but I'm sorry guys, the world does not accept humanoids nowadays. If you're a humanoid, you're getting ignored. Which I think is a good thing. I don't think attention in this economy is going to gain you money, assets, or anything good besides, trouble, as we can clearly see. Too much of it, and you'll become Mizkif because you never had to grow up. Become Gaykif. But not enough of it, and of course we're gonna get a little bit starved for people, but I feel like that may be good, personally. Like if they shut the internet off tomorrow, would I be mad? Sure, but I'd get over it pretty quickly, actually. I would get over it. All right, so I believe we're gonna get this guy this time. Let's go over to the last 2 monsters. We have aquatic types, and aquatic types, I'd say these are interesting ones. These are interesting ones because I feel like aquatic types are those who just rely, probably to a toxic extent, on peace. And the problem that you get with aquatic types is when your peace is disturbed, and you get a little bit toxic because of that. So aquatic types rely on a lot of intrinsic motivation to do things. You know, if it doesn't interact with what they love, then they say fuck it. You know, in a lot of ways they relate to the plant types, but the ways it gets toxic, the ways you have to fight the aquatic types are the things that naturally disturb the water in our life, because the water, as pertaining to a human, is 70% of us. It's the piece in us. It's our natural state. It is the base for all of our bullshit and conjectures. So the water types, they always stay in base. And you're like, how could this be a bad thing? Well, imagine you go to the beach every day, but you're always angry about the sand in your toes, and you know you're bullshitting about this, or you drown because you're over here floundering on different bullshit that doesn't matter, or yada yada yada, yada yada yada. And in general, I'd say aquatic types get toxic sometimes, but it's not like a main trait of the aquatic nature. It's one of those like elementals that you really have to try to make this toxic. So a lot of times I've seen people use the aquatic type traits combined with things like the bird or the demon to try to trick people over, but like a pure aquatic, somebody who's really just going directly for peace, very, very easy to connect that with God and just relax into the background, and do your thing. Aquatic types, though, I feel like I need to like do a little bit more delved in research on it, because I really don't understand it to the fullest extent. But that's the love of progress in me. I kind of just hopped on the mic and did this on a whim. No real script, as I don't really script out any of these videos. I have notes. I don't use ChatGPT for them. Although I probably maybe should in the future. For me personally, talking to AI is so cringe right now. It's so cringe right now. I can't. Bro, my mind never stops talking to me in random ways. Like you guys know, like Xenoblade Chronicles is like, oh my gosh, look at how many party. Is there 6 party members at once? Bro, I've had 8 party members in my head for my entire motherfucking life. So as you can see, I really don't need GPT to help me get through 30 minutes of yapping on about nothing. I can do that. I'm here for that. I delve that, right? And thus we get into the last type, which is the unexplainable, the what the fuck, the why does this exist. It's almost like elementals, but it's to a different level. And we have the question mark stat. And this is basically like your in bosses, your how does this person do this, your this person has been through New Game Plus, so they just won't tell us. The aliens of the world that are like, what is happening? I'm not even gonna really explain this, but I'll just give off some names of people who kind of remind me of this. I'd say Frank Ocean. I'd say Kendrick Lamar. I'd say Elon Musk. I'd say Chuck Testa. All true and real. All true and real corroborations. Think of anybody in your life that you just can't really explain. And I'm not gonna dox anyone in my life name-wise, but I will say I know one Sweden who I've met in real life. Last I've heard of him, because I don't like to keep up with people because I fucking hate social media and being parasocial. But I mean, like, it's the only thing I have to do. Also, obviously, it's very entertaining. It's content for me, and to be the best entertainer ever, I feel like you have to entertain yourself first. So that's what I'm doing. I'm casually entertaining myself, just stumbling my legs along, and I'm having fun, right? So I'm being parasocial. But the last time I've heard of this guy, he's a Swedish guy. So I suppose if he's watching this, you'll figure out who you are. I don't know too many Swedens. Last I heard of him, he went to North Carolina, and he's one of these people that I don't understand it. Like, how are you so good? One of the crazy statements that he's actually said is that, all my exes are my friends. I don't have any bad blood towards any of the girls I've dated. And I'm like, what? What? And if you see this guy, you see how he looks, and you see how he acts, you're like, you've dated, you've slapped buns with, I know. Yeah, or you've had the offer to. I know. A lot. And I don't know if he's kept that to this time in life, but there's certain things like that hold on to me about people. A lot. Because like I said, I have 8 party members. I have, the scholar in the back who takes notes on everything. And he likes to recall just the random shit that really sticks out in my mind a lot of times. And yeah, there are some people that I can't explain it. they're different. They are the end bosses, and you'll know it when it comes on in your life. And if it's never happened to you, my friend, you may be a question mark. So guys, my sigmas, my wigmas, my jigmas, my ligmas, I appreciate you. We've done it. We've defeated the boss. We've discovered the monster types. I hope you've enjoyed this third episode of the Mysterious Tower Maze. I'm gonna go goon. I'll see you later.